Hey guys, it's Abby. I just want to take a minute and share with you my testimony and how God delivered me from both anxiety and depression. So, fear and anxiety had a hold on me from a very young age. I was always a very shy child, but even then, the signs were there. I had to mentally prepare for every situation. The thought of having to be around someone new, much less to have to speak to him, made me sick to my stomach. There could be no surprises. I had to know exactly what we would be doing in case it happened to be on my long list of fears, and boy, was that list long. My parents began seeing the signs when I was just in the 5th grade. I can vividly remember having to walk across the classroom in front of my peers and feeling like there was an elephant on my chest and not knowing what it was. The crippling fear continued on into my teenage years. I refused to drive, and when I was forced, I would break down into tears and I would panic. The turning point when my parents knew that the issue was bigger than what we realized was my senior year of high school. I was talking with my mom, and during our discussion, all of a sudden, a panic like I'd never felt before hit me. I could no longer breathe, and I was crying hysterically. Of course, it scared my mom half to death, and after giving me something to breathe in and consoling me the best way that she knew how, at that point she knew something had to be done. My mom took me to the doctor soon after, and even while I was there speaking with the doctors, I had a panic attack and broke down right in the doctor's office. It was at that point that the doctors started making their suggestions. They put me with a counselor, and after a few sessions, it was time for my diagnosis. I had generalized anxiety disorder along with social anxiety, also nicknamed social phobia. The doctor then began prescribing medication to help. Now, before I get into this, I want you to know that I'm speaking about my personal experience, and this video is in no way to try to condemn you if you are on medication for your mental health or anything like that. This is simply what God did for me. If you or a loved one has ever been on medication for anxiety or depression, you know that oftentimes there's a trial and error period, mainly because of the side effects, to see which one is best for you and which one is going to help you. I remember one medication making me dizzy, another one that made me super talkative and hyper, and then the one that made me depressed. There was a medication prescribed to me that was meant to treat both depression and anxiety, and because at the time I was not depressed, it had the opposite effect on me. I began isolating and never coming out of my room, and while I was in there, I would sob for no reason other than I existed and I didn't want to exist. I took medication to make myself sleep because I didn't want to be awake. I began harming myself through cutting, beating myself, hair pulling, you name it. I no longer found joy in the things that I once did, and though I was praying, it would be prayers asking the Lord to take me in my sleep. Things did begin improving after that. The doctor did eventually find the medicine that worked for me, and it seemed like I finally had my anxiety and now depression under control. I continued taking the medication daily, and I started to show improvement. I started college. I went on my first date ever with my now husband, Orville. I even started driving. Everything began falling into place. The only issue with that was it was very conditional. I would be able to make it day by day and do these things that I never thought I would be able to do as long as I took this medication. Something inside me started to not be satisfied with that anymore. I began growing in my faith and turning to the Lord more and more, and eventually God laid it on my heart to stop taking the medicine. I took a leap of faith and I just stopped. And I know it's not recommended that you stop a medication that you have been taking for years cold turkey, but that's what God wanted me to do, so I listened to him. That was around 3 years ago, and I have been fine ever since. God healed me, and what did it cost? Absolutely nothing. The medication was conditional, and look at the price that I had to pay and that my family had to pay because they had to watch me go through all of that. My parents could not make me have a relationship with the Lord, and they had to help me the only way that they knew how. But God can take your burdens, your pain, your sickness, whatever you decide to give Him, He can take it away. And the best part of it is it's free and it's unconditional and it's simply because He loves you. I'm now a supervisor at a call center. My literal job is to be social and to talk to people all day, every day, and I enjoy it. I am now a people person. It's funny how God can turn things around. I hope that my testimony can help you if you're going through a similar situation. And I want you to know that God can do it for you. Thanks.